Hi everyone, I'm the owner of Itty Bitty Berry and I'm so glad you're here. So today I'm just showing you everything I have prepped for the last week, 2 weeks for my market tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm doing a Japanese cherry blossom festival and they have like a lot of Japanese demonstrations and music. And then they also have like a cosplay contest and things like that. So it's a mix of like Japanese and anime stuff, which I mean is still all Japanese, but that's kind of what I'm bringing to this market. So first we have Kakashi. This is a pattern by That Nerdy Hooker. And I think I'm gonna price him at $30. And he's made using a mix of Bernat and Elise Voluto. Very easy pattern. I think the hardest part about this pattern is of course the hair, just like with all dolls. It's quite a few different pieces, but you just sew them all onto the head. But the arms are worked in, the legs are worked in, the head is worked in. The jacket you color change, but then you make this little piece and sew it on, and then you make like the little collar piece and sew it on, but that takes like no time at all. So very quick and easy pattern. I really like this pattern. Next I have a Boba stitch. I do not remember the pattern creator's name, but everything will be linked down below for you. But this is my stitch Boba. I did do the straw differently because she has you use worsted weight yarn, but I just kind of freehanded one out of Bernat to match the cup. And she also has instructions to crochet the nose and crochet eyes. I didn't just because I like to make them out of felt, but I do like the way that she crocheted them. They looked really nice. So if you're looking for a way to crochet stitch eyes, I would definitely recommend checking out this pattern. Next we have this was my first Snuggle Beans crochet pattern. I know that sounds crazy because like everybody is making them. I have tons of her patterns. I just never have time to make them. So I made a Toothless, and of course I know Toothless is not Japanese, but I feel like if you're into anime, you probably like Toothless. I mean, you can bring a Toothless anywhere and it will sell. So I decided to make her Toothless. All of the horns are worked into the head. And then the arms and legs are worked into the body. The tail is worked into the body. So relatively low sew, you just have to sew on the wings and the tail pieces and then the head to the body. So, and I weighted him, so he is weighted. And here are the hand-painted eyes I made. I wish I would have used bigger eyes, but 30 millimeters was the biggest I had, and I wish I would have used 40s if I had them. But I didn't want to order any because my market's tomorrow, and I finished this guy up last night, and I really wanted to be able to bring this Toothless. I'm going to be selling him for $55 because he did take me a while, and he's weighted. So this is made out of demi pearl. So this was made using demi pearl with a mix of another yarn, which you'll have to stay tuned for because next week I'm going to be doing a yarn review of that yarn to see how it mixed with other yarns and how it worked up, all of that. So this is a mix of demi pearl and that other yarn. Next I have a Sailormoon Hello Kitty. I've had this pattern for a long time and I've really been wanting to make it, but I knew it was going to take a long time and I knew it kind of takes a special person to want a Sailormoon Hello Kitty. I would be that type of person. But I feel like I messed up her face. Her face looks really long. I think I should have moved her eyes and nose down. I didn't look at the pattern when I put these on. These are felt. I made the eyes out of felt and the nose out of felt. But I think the whiskers kind of help fix that problem. And then the ears, I think I could have sewn just maybe a 1 row higher, maybe. Hello Kitty, it's hard to put her ears on because they're not like right up on her head like a normal cat. They kind of are like off to the side. And then So this, you sewed on the ears and the bow, and then I think you sewed the head to the body. Yeah, you sewed the head to the body and the arms to the body and the collar, and then this bow. So this one had quite a bit of sewing, but I mean the legs were worked in. You could have worked in the arms, but I just chose to sew them because I didn't want to have to mess with it. The skirt is you do a back loop and then you go from that back loop later and create the skirt. And then the bow, I added the moon to it just to add a little bit more of a Sailormoon look, because I really wanted to make sure you could tell that it was Hello Kitty as Sailormoon. She doesn't have a bow in the back though. Sailormoon has that big bow, and I was going to add one, but because of the way the skirt sticks up like this, I knew that the bow really wasn't gonna like lay flat, and like she has like ribbons that come down. So I decided to just forego the bow and just do the one in the front and then her hair. And this is going to be priced at $50. I would price it a little higher, but I'm just not happy with the way the face looks. And I think it looks just a little weird, but hopefully she finds a home. Hopefully that person who comes along and likes Hello Kitty and Sailormoon will absolutely love her. Next, continuing on with the Boba, I have two little Boba babies. They're so cute. I really love these, and I really enjoyed this pattern. I think it was all no sew. You might have had to sew the stroll on, but I chose to crochet it on. I'm not quite sure. And this is by Shield Made in Crochet, and all of her patterns are like $1. So super cheap pattern, super cute. She has you embroider the boba, and it looks cute on hers, but when I did it, I just didn't like the way that it looked, so I cut felt to do the boba, and I really love the way that looks. I did not hand paint these eyes. These are just glitter discs because I didn't have time. I prepped these just a couple days ago. I'm trying to get as much as I can done for this event. So these, I just did the glitter disc, and then I did blush on this one, which I think looks really, really cute. This one, I did not do blush because I wasn't sure if people would like the blush or not, so I kind of just left it, this one without the blush, and this one with the blush. I wanted the straw to match the cup, but I ran out of this yarn, like literally almost enough. Like you can see in the back, there's 3 rows right there. I ran out of yarn like right there, and I was supposed to finish the row out. So, I mean, you can tell from the back, but it's not really that bad. So, I really like the purple one. I think the purple one's really cute. I might make more of these if I get time tonight. I might not. Actually, probably not, because I don't want to have to get my Cricut out and use my Cricut for any felt tonight, because that takes me a long time. So any plushies that have felt on them, I'm probably not going to make any more of for tomorrow. Okay, next I'm going to be reaching over to the side because I have a box of stuff over to the side of me. I have this Mario mushroom. Look how stinking cute this thing is. Look at him. There's supposed to be a dot on the top, but I didn't want to do it. I was too lazy. I was done with my Cricut. This was probably one of the last things I did with felt when I did that day. Like, I hold all my pieces that need felt for like ever, and then I spend like a whole day on my Cricut creating eyes and patches and whatever I need to. And so that day, this was like one of the last things. I was done. I was like, I ain't making another dot. I'm getting just enough done. And that's what we're going with. So this is by Fluffy Stuffies. It came in a whole Mario pattern pack, and I think she must use Parfait Chunkies for hers, because I thought this guy was going to be a lot smaller than it was, and he was not. He's a decent sized boy. And you do have to sew the cap, like the body and the cap is worked together. It's no sew there, but then you have just this big bulge. So then you kind of just squish it down and then sew it around that way. So I do like the way she did this mushroom, because a lot of Mario mushrooms you have to sew the top to the head, but this one is basically no sew. You're just tacking it down, and so I really liked that. And she has a felt pack that you can download so that you can make the eye. So that makes it so much easier when there's already an SVG out there for me to use. I don't know, I struggle to make SVGs. I don't know why. And then like trying to upload them into Cricut. Cricut makes you want to pay for literally everything. So it makes it really difficult, and when somebody already has the SVG, that makes my life so much easier. So I was glad that she had the SVG for these. Of course, this would look just as cute with normal eyes, and I think the pattern you can crochet the dots as well. So, oh, I stopped telling you my prices. The Boba, I think I'm doing for 12 or 13, and then this guy is going to go in my $10 bin. Next, I have one more of those evolutions like I had from the other week. This one is Sylveon. This one took me quite a while. Some of it was because of the color change, and then also you have the ribbon, which there's a lot of color changing in the ribbons on the ends, and then the ears took me a while. You were supposed to color change in the ears, but like I said with that Eevee last week, I didn't like the way the color changes looked. So I ended up embroidering her ears, and I think that looks cute. So I think for all the Eeveelutions and then the one like Pikachu, I'm gonna do 16 for these guys. So this one is probably worth more than 16, but then like the Pikachu didn't take that long, so they kind of like even each other out. But this is a mod by, I want to say JM Adorable Plushies for Shine Creations Pikachu pattern. I will try to link them below, but like I said last week, she took down all of her mods, but you can email her and get them. That is how I got them. She was super sweet and was able to get me all of the mods when I asked. I'm very thankful for that. I'm so glad she was able to do that. Next, I have these tiny little Junimo. Junimo are also not anything to do with Japanese, but again, kind of one of those fandoms that go hand in hand. If you like anime, you probably play video games. If you play video games and you're a girl, you probably play Stardew Valley. I mean, not that boys don't play Stardew Valley, but typically you find more females playing Stardew Valley than boys. But Junimo I made in these two little colors, super cute. This is a free YouTube tutorial. I did mod it just a little bit because she has you slip stitch, chain out, slip stitch back in, and it just made so many ends that I decided to crochet the arms into the rows and the legs into the rows, and that made my life so much easier. But I made like this little mint one, and he has blush, and this little pink one. Does it have blush? Yes, it does have blush. You just can't really see it. But I'm hoping these sell well because I would like to make more because I really had fun making these, and I love Junimo. I love Stardew Valley, and of course the Junimo are just so cute. The first time I played it, and then you like finish the whole, what do you call it, community center, I was so sad when the Junimo disappeared. I was so sad because I was like, no, I want to keep them. But then I found out you could get a Junimo hut to put on your farm, and then it was all good. But I was really sad. I was like, I wouldn't have even finished the community center if I knew they were going to leave me because I'm obsessed with them. They're so freaking cute. Next, I have a Bomb from Mario. This is from the same pattern pack as the Mario mushroom. And I modded it just a little bit because it didn't have the little crank on the back. So it's supposed to be gold. When I looked up pictures of these guys, it's supposed to be gold, but I made it in gray. And all I did was just slip stitch, chain, slip stitch, chain, slip stitch is all I did. And this was a relatively easy pattern. Of course, the felt eyes, super easy to make. And this is probably gonna go in my $10 bin. I wanted to have some Mario things just because the Mario movies are so popular, and I wanted there to be something easy and small for children to grab. So that's kind of why I went with a few of the Mario items. Oh, I didn't tell you the Junimos I'm going to do for $8 because, I mean, they're pretty small. Next, I have another not really Japanese item, but again, if you like anime, you probably like video games. So, I have Freddy Fazbear. I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's because I know it would tick me off and I get scared easily, but I know who he is, obviously. My sister likes these games, but this is just like the generic normal version of him. This is also a pattern. No, this is a pattern for free on Instagram. It's the same pattern as the Hello Kitty ones that I made last week, but I modded it a little bit. I wanted him to have a bigger nose because Freddy has like a huge nose, And I don't necessarily know if I like the way I did the nose. I think I'm going to experiment with this pattern some more to try to mod it to make the nose the way that I like it. I mean, it looks cute with the tiny bobble nose like she has. Which, by the way, the pattern is not for Freddie at all. It's for Rilakkuma. But obviously I just freehanded a hat and freehanded a bow tie and then changed the nose a little bit. Well, there goes Freddie. He's on the floor now. Okay, next I have a couple more Pokemon. These are also by that, the big Pokemon bundle that I talked about last time. So I have Mew and Mewtwo. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about them. I just wanted to make them because I know Mew is a fairly popular Pokemon, and I've also learned that Mewtwo is also fairly popular. So I wanted to make these little guys because there is a person on Etsy who also makes a similar body style like these, but there was no Mew to match like this style. I would really like to make all the Pokemon in this style because I really like this style and the way this pattern works up. I just really like it, but that wasn't an option. So I went with the smaller ones, which are going to go in a $10 Pokemon bin. Next, I have a tiny baby Yoda. Again, not Japanese, but kind of one of those fandoms that just run into everything. So this is a free pattern on Instagram. I don't know how to say her name. I know what her name is, but I don't know how to say it. She has a lot of really, really cute free patterns, so definitely check out her page. It'll be linked down below. But this I'm going to sell for $8. And while we're on that tactic of Baby Yoda, let's do Stitch, because to me, Baby Yoda and Stitch are kind of like the same thing. Like, they're just popular no matter what you do or where you go. You're going to find a Baby Yoda, you're going to find a Stitch, and it's probably going to be popular. So this is a little sleepy baby Stitch. I got this pattern on Etsy. Hers is really, really cute, and the pattern reviews are really cute. I don't know what I did, but mine looks like a dog. It does not look like Stitch. And I think you can tell who it is, so this is either going to go in my $8 or $10 bin. I just want to get rid of it. It was also very sew heavy. You had to sew the ears on, you had to sew the body to the head, and then all of these feet you had to sew on. I thought they were baubles. They are not baubles. So if I made this again, I would probably mod it to be baubles. And I think I'd probably change the colors because she used like a softer blue and then like a really light blue for her Stitch. So maybe that's why mine is just not as cute. I definitely want to give this pattern another try because it is just so, so cute. You'll have to look at it from the link down below. It is really cute, but mine looks like a dog. Next, let me see if I can grab them all. I don't know if I can. It's probably really annoying that I keep going off to the side, but you know what? It is what it is. So next I have, this is a pattern by Poggy's Place, her duck pattern, but I modded them to have different themed anime hats. So, or Japanese hats, I guess, because this is Mario and Luigi, again, just for like kids to grab. This is one of the hats in the pattern. I think it's the police hat, but I modded it just a tiny bit to look like Mario and Luigi's hats. The Mario one is really lopsided and it really bugs me, but so was the Luigi one. They look ridiculous, but I think somebody will like them. In person, they're a lot cuter than what they look like on camera. Next, I have another one I freehanded, and I'm hoping people will know who this is, but this is a Gojo duck. I just added a band for his mask and then just did the crazy hair. Like, this is in the pattern, this is the mullet, but obviously I didn't go all the way back. I just did it on the top and then freehanded a little mask. And all of my ducks, I use this little suction cup that I got off of Amazon. I don't love these. I wish I would have ordered bigger, but I knew that these ducks were really tiny, so I knew I wanted to order tiny ones. Well, these ones are really tiny. They do work though. They will hold the duck up, but just not super duper well. So next time I order them, I will do bigger ones. And all I do is I just stick it through the magic ring. Like, I don't close my magic ring super duper tight, and then I put hot glue on the top of this, and then I just stick it through the magic ring is all I do after I stuff it, because the stuffing helps give it something extra to stick to really keep it in there. And then next, of course, I have 2 one-piece ducks. This is what started it. I was like, I want to make ducks, but with one-piece hats, because for some reason, everybody in One Piece has a hat. I don't know if, like, the manga creator just really didn't like drawing heads, so he put a hat on them. I don't know. But I did a chopper was the first one I did. Of course, I couldn't just not do chopper. I had to do chopper, and I love this one. This one's probably my favorite. And then I did a Luffy. I love the Luffy one. I think these ones will definitely sell. I'm going to do the ducks for $8. But these are so cute. I wanted to do a Zoro duck, but I just really didn't have time. But the Zoro duck, I was going to do like his bandana for the head. At first I thought about doing like the mullet hair in green. And then I was like, you know what, we could change it up a bit and do his bandana. And then make little swords to put on his side, maybe one in his beak. I don't know. I think it would be really cute. I plan on doing a Zoro one at some point. I just don't know when. Next, I have a Pochita. If that's how you say it. I've never watched Chainsaw Man. This is a pattern by That Nerdy Hooker, I'm pretty sure. But this, you have to sew on the tail. You chain off for this. You have to, the handle is 3 separate parts that you have to sew together and then sew to the body, as well as this little handle on the butt. But other than that, the feet are bobble stitched on. This you have to sew on, and then the mouthpiece is a piece you have to sew on. Those aren't bobble stitches. It's a piece you make and sew on. As well as this chainsaw part, you're supposed to make it twice and then take the darker gray and put it together, but I did not want to make the light gray piece twice. I was like, that's just going to take too much time that I felt was like unnecessary. So I just made one, and I feel like it still looks totally fine. And then I did some felt around the eyes just to give him that little derpy Pochita look. And I think he looks so cute. He does not stand very well on his own. Well, of course, now he's going to make a fool of me and stand on his own. But I think because of this, he flops forward. Pochita, I think I'm going to sell for $20. Next we have, let me pull this a little closer. So last week I made Luna, so of course I had to make Sailormoon. This is by the same pattern designer as the chopper from last week. Now, I had some issues with this pattern. I looked at her pattern reviews and nobody seemed to have this issue but me from her other patterns. There was no reviews for Sailormoon yet. I think she must have been newer, but I had a lot of problems with the hair. The hair was way too long, not this part. But like the bangs were like all the way down here, and then like each of these individual strands were like way down here. So I had to take it apart, shorten all the strands, and then I kept having like too many strands to go across the back of her head. So I ended up having to like overlap them a little bit because there was just too much. And it's not like, she didn't say to use a smaller yarn, and I used burlap for the head and burlap for the hair. So it should have lined up. But I'm also really bad at making hair, so that might have been on me because I haven't made that many dolls, and for some reason, every time I do hair, I have an issue somewhere, some way, somehow. So it might have just been me. My other issues with this pattern is, I don't know, I just feel like her head's kind of long. She has a long face, but the curls were easy to do. The buns are easy to do. You chain out of the buns, so you don't have to sew these on. You do sew the buns on, and then of course the hair, the bow. And that's about it because the head and the body is one, the arms are bobbles, feet are bobbles, the skirt is slip stitched on. Oh, you have to sew the ears on. But I mean, this is a fairly low sew pattern. I mean, medium sew. I mean, it's quick for a doll, so I do like it. I do want to try it again and see if maybe I can do better with the hair next time. But I used the burnout sparkle for the hair because I thought that would just give that magical Sailormoon look. And I glued that moo, like a cow, no, a moon, in the middle of her hair to give her like that Sailormoon crown. I wanted to embroider one, but I just didn't have enough room in between the bangs, so I just added that little moon. And then I used felt eyes because I knew I wanted to do felt eyes before I finished it, or like when I finished it, but now I kind of wish I would have hand painted safety eyes and used those. So next time I will probably do that instead of the felt eyes. These are free eyes. This is an SVG for free by That Nerdy Hooker. You can find that on her Instagram page. The only other mod that I did was I added the bow in the back because this pattern did not call for the bow that she has in the back. So I just kind of free-handed one with the long strands. So that is my little Sailormoon with her little Luna loaf cat that I made last time. They look really super cute together. I kind of hope they go to the same home, but we'll see. And I'm going to sell this for $45. Next we have a Luffy. This is a free pattern on Instagram. I will link the designer below, of course. His hat does come off. I made it so his hat could come off. I could sew it on or glue it on, but I just wanted it to be able to come on and off. Give it a more of an interactive element. This was a fairly easy pattern. The only things that are really involved with sewing is like the hair. And I think she has you sew this yellow belt down, but all I did was just chain and tie it, and that was good enough. I mean, I think when I weaved in the ends, I kind of weaved in and out just a little bit to secure it. But I mean, the jacket is actually, it looks like it comes off, but it actually does not. You crochet around the arms and over the back. It's a very interesting way that she does it, and she has a video on her Instagram to show you how, so that you don't get confused with the directions, because they are a little confusing. But the pants are color changed. Yeah, I mean, this is a fairly easy pattern. And then you have the hat. I did mod the hat because the hat was huge when I made it. It was like, came out really far, but she has hers like folded up like this in the pattern. And I didn't want that. I just wanted mine to be out. And I used Burnout Mystical to give that, like straw hat look. And then I did the little embroidered scar. And I think I'm going to sell this one for $20. He's a cute little Luffy. Next, I have a Capybara in a Snorelax outfit. This is by Ren Meow, and it came with different Pokemon outfits. I did the Snorlax because I think there was a Pikachu, and I already have a Pikachu. There was a Jigglypuff. I already have a Jigglypuff. And then a Psyduck, which I was thinking about making one and I didn't get to it. So I decided to do the Snorlax since I didn't have any Snorlax Pokemon on my table. But I think this looks really cute. I'm going to sell this for $50. He took me quite a while because you have to sew the arms on. You have to sew the legs on. The overalls is color change, and then you come back and slip stitch this on. The head is sewn on. The ears are sewn on. The hat is separate. The ears on the hat are separate. And then you can choose to make a nose, or she talks about like you can do makeup, which I thought was an interesting technique. I had never thought of that. So I used some bronzer, and I really like the way that it looked. I also gave him some blush, but I really like the way that the nose looked with this. It was very interesting, and I hope to use it in more plushies. But to make it blend really well, I just used a really light brown first, and then I went in with the darker brown just to kind of blend it into the area. So if you decide to do this, I wouldn't go in straight with dark brown. I would probably use like a lighter brown and then use the darker brown to kind of blend it into the lighter yarn. He's also supposed to have a tail that you're supposed to sew on, but by that point I was tired of making tiny pieces and sewing them, that I just went without the tail because I didn't really think anybody would care that the capybara didn't have a tail. Because typically when you see crocheted capybaras, they don't have a tail. And to be honest, in person, I think capybaras might have like a really, really tiny tail, if not no tail. So I didn't think it was a big deal that he didn't have a tail. What else do we have? Oh, we have another one of those items that's not really Japanese, but kind of goes hand in hand. It's just like a little Minecraft bee. This is another pattern that I just got. I really like this one because I have the bee pattern by Sweet Bee Creations, but I always have problems with the butt. Like my back is crooked from the head. So I got a different one and I like this one just a little bit better. So this guy I'm gonna sell for, I think, $12. And hopefully this will be something like a kid picks up to go with, like, you know. I thought about making a creeper too because that's just another small, easy item for kids to gravitate towards. Because I'm not really sure how many anime things kids are going to grab because most anime shows are not really geared towards children. That doesn't mean that parents aren't going to let them watch them, but... Okay, and we're down to our last few items, so let me grab my box that I've been throwing these all into. I have a Totoro. This one you were supposed to put a leaf on the head. I just decided not to put the leaf on the head. This was a pattern from Etsy that unfortunately is no longer available. So, and he has this teeny tiny little tail in the back. But there is some free Instagram patterns very similar to this. So I would just look up a free Totoro on Instagram and you'll probably find something pretty similar. Actually, I know there is one similar because I've looked at them. Because at first I couldn't find this because it got deleted off of Etsy, so I couldn't find it in my purchase history. But I was able to reach out to her and she was able to send it to me again. This, I think I'm going to sell for 13 or 14. Almost there. We're at the light at the end of the tunnel. We have 2 plushies left. This is Bowser, another one from that Mario plushie pack. This, I think, came out really cute. She did have the SVG for Bowser eyes, but I decided, I seen some of her pattern testers do eyes and then just embroider the eyebrows, so that's what I did. And then I just chained and slip stitched for the hair. I modded that. She does not have you do that in the pattern. She has you use fur yarn. I did not have any red fur yarn, unfortunately, or else I would have used it. But she has you go all the way around the head in like 2 rounds, the 2 rounds in between the horns. And that was too much for me, so I just did like 4 little slip stitches in the middle. But you do have to sew on the horns, and then you have to sew on the shell. But other than that, it's no sew. I don't quite love the shell because it's very long, as you can see. I feel like it should have been more squished, like this would have been about perfect. So next time I make it, I might just cut off a few rounds. Because also, like, this one bobble in the middle is, like, way off center. Because she has you do it in the magic ring. And then the rest of them are all centered pretty well, except for, you know, where you change rounds at the bottom. But pretty easy, pretty quick. I think I'm going to sell this guy for $13. And then my last one is another one that has nothing to do with anime, but I just felt like making one. So it's a possum. How cute is this guy? This is a new to me pattern. This is by, I cannot think of her name, but I have a few patterns by her. And she also has a YouTube now, so that's where I found this pattern, was her YouTube. I was like, oh, I should buy that because look at his chonky butt. He's got a chonky little butt. He's so chonky. He's chonky. And then the tail. I really like how the tail is done. It was a very different method from what I thought it was going to be. And that's so when he's sitting, his tail just kind of naturally curves around his body like that. And I really like that. I think that's really cute when he's sitting. And also, he can be a little top heavy because of his head, but that's fine. And he's just got this chunky, squishy little body. I think it would be really cute to put a squeaker in this. That would be so cute if you put a squeaker in one of these. I should try that. But this is all no-sew. All of it is no-sew, so it's perfect. It's really quick. This was actually really quick, so it's a great market make. I may start making these as my possum markets instead of the pattern that I was using previously. But that is all of the patterns I made the last couple weeks for my market. I feel like I don't have quite enough inventory, but it is what it is when you're a mom with a baby. That kind of takes priority, and that's okay because that time you never get back. So this is what I have. I'm hoping I do good tomorrow. I will be vlogging it, and that vlog will be posted later. So make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see that vlog, if you want to see that yarn review. So make sure you stick around, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!